Do you face life's challenges as insurmountable barriers? That question might sound simple, but when we truly stop to reflect on it, we realize it touches a very real and common wound in our existence. Almost every human being, at some point in life, encounters situations that seem to close every door, that seem to hold us back and prevent us from moving forward. These are those moments when everything around us appears to conspire against us, when the weight of the world feels almost unbearable, and the sense is that we have no way out or any chance to change course. It could be losing a job, a personal crisis, loneliness, losing a loved one, a failure that seems definitive, or a shattered dream. It's important to recognize that this feeling of powerlessness is neither rare nor a personal flaw. It is a universal human condition. Since ancient times, men and women across all cultures and eras have faced it, and the experience of suffering, the struggle against what limits us, is part of what it means to be human. What sets us apart is not the absence of suffering, but the way we deal with it. How many times have you felt stuck, powerless, or trapped? How many mornings have you woken up with a knot in your throat, a heaviness in your chest, carrying the weight of something bigger than yourself? And more importantly, how have you responded in those moments? Do we react with despair, with fear, by running away? Or is there a way to find within ourselves a strength capable of transforming these difficulties into a stepping stone towards something greater? This is where Stoic philosophy comes in, a school of thought that blossomed in antiquity and still holds the power to change lives today. The Stoics taught us to see obstacles not as impassable walls, but as an essential part of our path. They invite us to deeply reflect, what if what you think is a blockage is actually what will push you forward? What if the difficulty that paralyzes you is actually the rarest opportunity life can offer for growth? It's understandable that when faced with suffering, our initial reaction is denial, resistance, or escape. But Stoic wisdom invites us to see these moments with different eyes. They challenge us to accept that suffering, obstacles, and losses are inevitable, yes, but how we relate to them is what shapes our destiny. It's an invitation to recognize that life won't always be smooth, that we will fall, lose, and be frustrated, but that in our response lies true freedom and real power. On this journey we will walk together today, I want to show you how this ancient philosophy can radically transform the way you face life's hardships. We will dive into profound yet accessible teachings that have helped countless people over centuries to rise stronger amid life's storms. If you are tired of feeling stuck, of looking at obstacles as impossible walls, stay with me, because there is a way to transform all of that into a path full of meaning, resilience, and purpose. You are not alone in this, and the power to change is inside you exactly where you are right now. Now let's dive into one of the most powerful phrases that Stoic philosophy left us, spoken by Marcus Aurelius, one of the greatest Roman emperors and also one of the deepest Stoic thinkers. He said, "The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way." At first glance, this phrase might sound contradictory, almost paradoxical. How can an obstacle advance an action? How can what blocks us actually be the path itself? To understand this maxim, we need to delve deeper into the Stoic view of life and adversity. Marcus Aurelius did not have an easy life. He faced bloody wars, political betrayals, economic crises, and personal losses. Yet he refused to let these realities destroy his serenity or ability to act. On the contrary, he transformed these challenges into tools to strengthen his soul, mind, and leadership. The essence of this phrase lies in understanding that the obstacle is not a force that paralyzes, but an invitation to find creative solutions, to exercise virtue and courage. For the Stoic, life is not a smooth, free path. It is full of stones, curves, and barriers that test our determination and wisdom. It is as if existence itself were a gym for the soul, where obstacles are the weights we must lift to grow stronger. True progress is not in fleeing the impediment, but in using it to move forward, to build the path with the very difficulties we face. This view is radically different from the common perspective, which sees problems as enemies to be eliminated at any cost. Stoicism teaches us to embrace the challenge, to realize that growth and transformation are only possible through resistance. Moreover, this phrase also implies that the path is not something external we must find outside ourselves, but something we build step by step, facing what appears on the way. The obstacle itself is the raw material with which we sculpt our journey, and in it lies the possibility of true change. We can connect this teaching with another fundamental Stoic concept, the dichotomy of control. What is within our control are our attitudes, choices, and responses to what happens. What is beyond our control are external circumstances, others' actions, and life's unpredictable events. Therefore, when an obstacle arises, we can choose to respond with frustration and fear, or to use our reason and courage to turn it into an opportunity for growth. It is an exercise of inner freedom that allows us to find peace even in the midst of storms. With this phrase, Marcus Aurelius invites us to shift our paradigm from fear and resistance to active acceptance and conscious use of difficulties. It's an invitation to discover that the greatest advances happen when we stop fighting what stands in the way and start using it to propel ourselves forward. Though ancient, this philosophy is incredibly relevant today. In a world where control is an illusion and change is constant and fast, learning to transform obstacles into progress is a vital skill for mental, emotional, and even physical health. Let's bring this idea into something concrete and close to our reality. Imagine, for example, that you lose your job. This is one of the most frightening and difficult situations many people face in life. Losing your main source of income, the security to pay bills, support your family, and secure your future, can trigger deep insecurity, fear, anxiety, and even hopelessness. It is natural to feel this way, and there's nothing wrong with acknowledging this pain. What Stoicism proposes, however, is that even in this difficult situation, we have a choice about how to respond. This choice can change everything. When we lose a job, it's easy to let ourselves be consumed by a narrative of failure, by the feeling that all is lost. We might feel like victims of circumstance and fall into a cycle of negativity and paralysis. But what if instead you chose to see this loss as an opportunity, a door opening to new paths? Perhaps it is a chance to pursue a career that truly fulfills you, to learn new skills that once seemed out of reach, or even to start your own business, an old passion waiting to be awakened. This shift in perspective is neither magical nor immediate, but a practice that can be developed and cultivated. It turns the problem into fuel for growth, anguish into motivation, loss into learning. Additionally, this Stoic stance helps reduce anxiety by distancing us from the illusion that we can control everything and reconnecting us with what is truly within our reach, our attitudes and present decisions. Losing a job, thus, becomes an obstacle that advances action, that becomes the path itself. It is the moment to activate resilience, practice patience and courage, and reinvent ourselves with wisdom. This practical example shows that Stoicism is not an abstract concept, but a living, applicable, and transformative philosophy, capable of profoundly changing how we face life's ups and downs.
Now it's time for you to put philosophy into practice. True learning happens when theory turns into action, and that's exactly what I want to propose now. A simple, direct, and powerful exercise to help you change your relationship with obstacles. Take a piece of paper and a pen, or open a notes app on your phone. Write down, calmly, one obstacle you're currently facing. It can be big or small, but something that bothers you, something that makes you feel stuck or frustrated. Then do this. Write at least 3 different ways in which this obstacle can be an opportunity for you to grow. Be creative. Allow yourself to think of possibilities you may never have considered before. For example, if your obstacle is a difficulty at work, it could be a chance to develop new skills, improve your communication, or learn to deal with difficult people. If it's a health issue, it may be time to take better care of your body, change habits, or learn about self-care. The goal of this exercise is to expand your vision, take the focus off limitation, and put energy into construction and solution. While doing this, breathe deeply and remember, the obstacle is not the end of the road, but an essential part of it. True transformation happens when you stop fighting the stones and start using them to climb. Practice this exercise regularly, whenever you feel blocked. Gradually, you will notice your mind beginning to work differently, lighter, more focused on the present and what really matters. Applying Stoicism is not an instant cure, but a daily walk to strengthen the soul and reason.
To illustrate this principle, let's go back in time and learn about the life of Marcus Aurelius, a man who, despite his position of power, faced challenges that could have destroyed many others. Marcus Aurelius was the emperor of Rome during a turbulent time, marked by bloody wars, economic crises, political betrayals, and devastating plagues. Yet he remained firm, serene, and wise, not because he was free from problems, but because of the way he chose to face them. He did not deny harsh realities, nor allow himself to be deceived by illusions. On the contrary, he used every difficulty as an opportunity to grow and become a better leader. For him, obstacles were not enemies, but teachers. War was not a tragedy to avoid, but a training ground for courage and virtue. His life is a living example of what it means to transform impediments into progress. To live the phrase he himself wrote, "The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way." This story teaches us that resilience is not a magical or innate quality, but a habit cultivated through constant practice of reason, acceptance, and courage. It is within the reach of anyone willing to walk the path of wisdom.
We have reached the end of this reflection, but the invitation I leave you with is only the beginning of a transformative journey. Face the obstacles in your life not as impenetrable walls, but as doors opening to your growth. This shift in perspective is powerful. It lifts the burden of resistance and puts the power of action into your hands. When you find within yourself the capacity to use what stands in your way as the way itself, you free yourself from unnecessary suffering and gain a strength that goes far beyond external circumstances. Now, I want to challenge you. In the coming days, whenever an obstacle arises, pause consciously, take a deep breath, and ask yourself, how can I use this to move forward? How can this challenge teach me something valuable? What path can I build from here? And if you feel this video has brought something useful to your life, leave a comment sharing which challenge you are willing to transform. Share this message with someone who might also benefit from this wisdom. Like the video and subscribe to the channel to keep receiving content that strengthens mind and soul. Resilience is not just a nice word. It is a daily practice, a constant invitation to find meaning and power amid adversity. Let's walk this path together with courage, wisdom, and presence. Are you ready to transform your obstacles into real opportunities? Then let's go.